It gives me great pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker. Reginald Luster is an attorney licensed to practice in the state of Florida. He is also the founder and owner of two businesses: the law firm of Reginald Luster, PA, and his real estate investment company, Radiant Lands Corporation. Mr. Luster was born in Fort Lauderdale and later moved with his family at an early age to Jacksonville. Living in Jacksonville, Reginald Luster attended the public school system and graduated in 1982 from Ribault High School. Upon his acceptance to college, Mr. Luster attended Florida State University, and while at Florida State, Reginald served as executive intern to former Governor and former U.S. Senator Bob Graham. After attaining his bachelor's degree in history with honors, Mr. Luster was later accepted in the College of Law at Florida State, where he was a member of the Law Review and the Appellate Moot Court team. During his time at law school, Reginald also studied abroad at Oxford University in England. Having received his law degree, Mr. Luster returned to Jacksonville to begin his career as a practicing attorney, rising to the position of partner with a Jacksonville insurance defense firm. In 1994, Mr. Luster entered public service and joined the U.S. Department of Justice as an assistant U.S. attorney here in Jacksonville, and distinguished himself as a trial attorney representing the United States. During his tenure with the department, Mr. Luster was recognized for superior achievement and numerous merit awards from within the department. Upon returning to private practice in 2001, Reginald Luster later made history when he was sworn in as president of the Jacksonville Bar Association, the first African-American lawyer to be voted to that position in the 119-year history of the organization. Mr. Luster has served on the board of directors for the Florida Bar Foundation and the American Board of Trial Advocates. He continues to be a loyal and active member of Kappa Alpha Psi and, of course, Sigma Pi Phi fraternity. Please join me in welcoming my friend and fellow Archon, Reginald Luster.
Good evening. This evening, the Gamma Beta Boule recognizes you, more than 740 students who have shown a very high potential to be successful in high school, college, and eventually your chosen careers. My message this evening is a call to leadership in public service. In the very near future, once you've earned your education and you've obtained your life experiences, those times, those events, destiny, and perhaps history will call some of you to a leadership position in public service. That is public service to disenfranchised people, public service to the city of Jacksonville, public service to the great state of Florida, and yes, public service to the greatest United States of America. I like to think of a call to leadership in public service as a very powerful wind that blows you out of your comfort zone and pushes you in the direction of public service. You will be moved in that direction, and I want you to know that after my message this evening, you will be prepared to answer the call. This powerful wind blew on June 11, 1964, right down the road in the city of St. Augustine, Florida, during the 400th anniversary celebration of our nation's oldest city, pushing a young Baptist minister out of his comfort zone in Atlanta, Georgia, pushing Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to answer a call to leadership and public service, to lead people in a protest against racial discrimination, against segregation in hotels, in schools, in restaurants, and other places of public accommodation, such as public parks and public beaches. And yes, even Anastasia Beach in St. Augustine, Florida in 1964. You know the story, you know his story. Dr. Martin Luther King answered the call, becoming a leader of this country's civil rights movement, resulting in the United States Congress passing laws and President Lyndon B. Johnson signing into law the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. And 3 years later, on June 6, 1967, here in Jacksonville, Florida, that powerful wind blew and pushed a woman working in her comfort zone as a school teacher, living in the old east side of Jacksonville, Florida, Mary Singleton, to run for the Jacksonville City Council. Mary Singleton answered a call to leadership and public service, and she became the first African-American woman to be elected to the Jacksonville City Council. Mary Singleton, some of you know her story. She continued to answer the call to leadership and public service, and she became the first person from North Florida to be elected to the Florida House of Representatives, providing for the first time a voice on behalf of her constituents as she served at the Florida State Capitol in Tallahassee. As we moved out of the 20th century and into the 21st century, the times, the events, destiny, and history continued a call to leadership in public service. Once again, right here in Jacksonville, Florida, on September 20, 2008, at Metropolitan Park, the Democratic presidential candidate and Illinois Senator Barack Obama answered a call to leadership in public service. You know his story. During the 2008 presidential campaign, Barack Obama captured the state of Florida's 27 electoral votes en route to serving as the first African-American president of the United States of America. And 3 years later, riding that same powerful wind that propelled President Obama into perhaps the most prestigious public service position, Alvin Brown from Beaufort, South Carolina, and having worked in the administration of President Bill Clinton, answered a call to leadership and public service. You know the story, you know his story. On May 17, 2011, Alvin Brown defeated his Republican challenger by a mere 1,648 votes, making his election the closest mayoral election in Jacksonville's history. On July 1, 2011, Alvin Brown was sworn in as the mayor of the city of Jacksonville, the first African American to hold that position. As I look out upon this audience of high potential students, I say to you, there are women and men who look like you, who came from similar backgrounds and who have similar life experiences, who face similar struggles, and who overcame similar roadblocks to their success. and who were similarly prepared when they received a call to leadership in public service. Remember these words of wisdom on leadership. Leadership does not ask permission to serve. Leadership answers the call. It steps forward, and leadership takes its rightful place at its rightful time. And that is why, on these words of wisdom, in these times, in these events, on that same powerful wind blowing through the state of Florida that pushed Dr. Martin Luther King, that pushed City Councilwoman and State Representative Mary Singleton, that pushed Mayor Alvin Brown, and that pushed President Barack Obama. On this day, May 3, 2016, I have answered a call to leadership in public service, announcing my candidacy for United States Senator from the state of Florida. Thank you. Thank you very much. In closing, I say to you students of high potential, in your near future, there is a call to leadership in public service. Continue to prepare yourself, and may that powerful wind continue to blow in Jacksonville, the state of Florida, and the United States of America. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next senator from the state of Florida, Reginald Luster.